I can't believe it. I actually got tickets to all 5 BTS ARIRANG shows in Australia. And I want to tell you guys exactly how, because honestly, I almost failed. Quick context before we get into it. This is my first ever BTS concert, I can't believe it. I bought tickets from Ticketmaster before. I've done the whole Q lottery thing for Tomorrowland one successfully, but absolutely nothing can prepare for the anxiety and the stress of a BTS presale. I made mistakes. People in my group got locked out and we spent 30 minutes clicking on seats that were already sold. But by the end of 5 shows across 2 cities, we figured out what worked, what didn't, and what we could have done better. I want to share everything I learned with you guys, so if you're getting tickets for the rest of the tour or any high demand Ticketmaster events, you don't have to make the mistakes I've made. Before I start, I just want to say I did not do this alone. I had a whole unit. Across 5 shows, we managed to get L1 for day 1 Melbourne, L1 for day 1 Sydney, and VIP soundcheck for day 2 Sydney, I know! It literally took a village, and I'll explain exactly how it works. Let's get into it. Tip 1, to refresh or not to refresh. You've probably heard, do not refresh at all cost, and taken that as gospel. I did too. But here's what nobody actually explains. That rule only applies to one specific phase of the whole ticketing process. There are actually 3 phases, and the refresh game is completely different for each one. Phase 1 is before the waiting room opens. Say your pre-sale starts at 12 p.m. and the waiting room opens at 11:30. That page does not auto refresh. You can't be just staring at it. Nothing will happen. At 11:30:01, you refresh that page, and that would bring up the waiting room. So many armies in our New Zealand group chat were like, oh my god, why is nothing happening? You actually need to refresh that page for the join waiting room button to come up. Phase 2 is once you're in the queue, and that is where your no refresh rule should kick in.
Show refresh. I don't think you should right now. It's cutting so close.
Controversially, some people reckon they can refresh during the queue to bring down the queue number faster. I personally did not even think of trying. It's my first ever BTS concert, I ain't gonna risk it. Phase 3 is when you're on the seat selection map, and this one I'm gonna give it its own tip because it cost us the most and it deserves more than just a mention. Skip ahead to tip number 4 if you want to find out more, but I'll try to go through this whole ticketing process chronologically. Tip number 2, build your own army raid party, but keep them separate. Okay, this tip is actually 2 tips in one, and this is the one that changed everything for us. 2.1 is to build your village. Everyone works differently. Some people prefer doing it on their own, but if you're a newbie like me, I highly suggest putting together a raid party, especially for such a high demand pre-sale like BTS. Our core group is me and my sister, 2 first timers, completely running on adrenaline and a lot of faith, and my boyfriend who's not coming with us, but he's kind of like our backup soldier. And our aim was to get 2 tickets. In our wider group, we've got someone that successfully got Eras tour tickets multiple times. We've also got a seasoned K-pop multi-stan who knew exactly how these pre-sales work. And those girls are our heavy hitters. They are going as another unit, but they're willing to help us if we struggle. Think of it like a raid in a game. You want to assemble your team, and then you want a proper strategy before going in, not just let's all go in and see what happens. Because once you're in the room, there's absolutely no time to think. Here's my real life example. So Peggy, my sister, and I, we wanted to get VIP soundcheck for Melbourne as well. And we were going for it in day 1, well now day 2, because they added a show. So we didn't have a proper chat, and we just went in assuming we had to get seats together. But in hindsight, we could have chatted about whether we are comfortable going on our own solo separately, because linked seats are much harder to get than separate seats. So Nick's queue number for that day was just over 10k, which wasn't too bad. And we could have pivoted and tried for solo VIP tickets, but we hadn't chatted beforehand, so we went in and just froze. Your budget, your preferred sections, your backup options, whether you're willing to sit separately if there aren't any linked seats, All that needs to be discussed before going in. Not saying you can't change strategy halfway through, and most likely you'll need to, but when you're on the map, the clock is ticking and you're honestly gonna just lose your shit. 2.2, keep your party physically separate. This is super important. Being in the same room could potentially get you all kicked out. So my core team, me, my sister Peggy, and my boyfriend Nick, we all took a day off work. We thought it was a good idea to get in the same room, book together and discuss strategy on the spot. But both Nick and my sister got flagged for suspicious activity and got locked out. We all had legit army presale codes. We're definitely not bots, but what I suspect is that Ticketmaster probably got suspicious when they detected 3 sessions from the same IP address. Only my laptop survived. We went from 3 chances down to 1. So the theory, although I'm not 100% sure if this is true, is that maybe the same IP address triggered bot detection. My suggestion is to coordinate together but book in separate locations, or at least different networks. So one person on Wi-Fi and the rest of the group on their mobile data. Decide your budget and your preferred sections before the pre-sale, and then everyone can just go into the queue independently. Tip 3, enter your pre-sale code before doing anything else. When you finally get through the queue, you're in the ticket room, you feel this massive adrenaline rush, and the first instinct is to start clicking seats. Don't do that yet. The first thing you need to do is to find that little bar at the top that says enter offer code. Enter your army presale code, which is your membership number. It kind of looks like an optional promo code thingy, but it's not. You actually need to enter the code to unlock the full inventory so you can see what's actually available. I strongly suggest having your army presale code copied to your clipboard the entire time of the whole ticketing process. I'll explain exactly why you need to do this, and trust me, you need this code multiple times. You seriously do not have any time to waste when you're on the map. Tip number 4, the map is lying to you, and here's how to fix it. This is the biggest tip and the one I most wish I knew before going in. Me, my sister, my boyfriend, we wasted about 30 minutes just clicking on seats that were already sold. The map was showing us seats that looked available, and when you click on them, you can actually add them to your selection. But when you try to check out, this damn pop-up will appear. These tickets are no longer available. Please select new tickets from the refreshed map and try again. And we kept thinking the refresh button is this little guy up here next to the map. It did nothing. And we were too scared of refreshing the actual map page because everyone said, do not refresh. A lot of time has passed. Good seats were disappearing. I was getting really desperate, so I messaged our New Zealand Army group chat. I was like, what to do? Please, someone help. Until we, bless her, she's an absolute angel. She was like, you need to refresh the actual map page. That's what gives you a real-time picture of what's actually available. Refreshing the map page does not kick you out of the room. You'll keep your place, but it'll clear your pre-sale code, which is why I told you to copy and paste it into your clipboard, because you'll be pasting it back so many times. But don't go ham on refreshing though. You don't want to trigger bot detection. Just hit refresh every now and then when you're consistently hitting that damn pop-up that says those seats are unavailable and you can't get through to checkout. By the time we learned the refreshing trick, it was a little too late. We finally got a realistic view of what was left, and it was just level 3 at that point. We honestly wasted so much time clicking on ghost seats that weren't available. I want to add a note here. Be prepared to give up your dream seats for something you can actually secure. Of course, everyone wants VIP sound check, but if you don't start with a low queue number, chances are when you get into the map, you see some VIP dots scattered around, you click on them, you can probably add to cart, but it won't let you check out. So you don't want to miss out on your next best option, and it's more likely you'll succeed if you go for those. There's no bad seat at ARIRANG. Every seat is precious, and having VIP sound check is just an absolute cherry on top, but the priority is to get in there. Tip number 5, Set your ticket quantity before you touch the map. If you're going solo, you need to manually select 1 in the drop down. Ticketmaster assumes you're not going alone, so the default number is 2. If you don't change it first, you'll be defaulted to select 2 seats and you'll waste time wondering why you can't just grab the one you want. If you're going as a pair or a group, do not waste time clicking on, say, 2 seats in a row of 3 and leaving 1 seat behind, because Ticketmaster will not let you check out and this annoying pop-up will appear. Ticketmaster wants to limit the amount of single seats because they're harder to sell, but trust me, for BTS concert, those went super quick too. But clicking around mid pre-sale is just not what you need. You don't want to be making any errors. It's just eating your time. Set your quantity first, then touch the map. Tip 6. Nothing is real until you see the checkout screen. This one is less of a technical tip, but more of a mindset shift that changed how I operated by pre-sale 3 and 4. This screen, the checkout screen with the ticking timer, this is the only reality that matters. Absolutely nothing before this counts. Seats can disappear between clicking and carting, so nothing is confirmed until you see this page. Thinking back, I probably won't even bother consulting the group on seat options while I was still on the map, because nothing is real until you see the checkout, and you could be wasting precious time discussing seats that aren't actually available. Just get yourself to checkout first and then consult the group. You've got 7 minutes to enter your details, and I highly recommend pre-entering your credit card before you even start the pre-sale, so you actually have a little bit of time to make a call. To be honest, your group strategy chat session should have happened before the pre-sale, not during. When you hit checkout, you are confirming a preference you guys have already discussed, not presenting a new option with a ticking time bomb. But also be prepared to pivot, because sometimes another person could get in the room and end up with better seat options than you, so you guys all have to be on point and make that decision on the spot. I'll give you our own examples. So for Sydney day 2, I somehow managed to add a couple of section B tickets into my card. They are pretty close to stage, but not soundcheck. And at the same time, my friend's friend, who is the seasoned K-pop stan, she managed to add a couple of soundcheck tickets into her card. So we kind of like got to the checkout page and waited for her to complete her transaction before I give her my card. Honestly, it was so stressful, and you need to take time off school or work to coordinate this. Tip number 7, if you get locked out, it's not over. If Ticketmaster locks you out for suspicious activity, please don't panic. At least for Australia, different countries may have different rules, so please check with your local ticket vendor. But for us, the Ticketmaster email address does not need to match the Weverse email address. If you get locked out, just sign up with a new email address, go on 5G so you're on a different network, open a new browser, and then just go again. I haven't personally tested this, but some armies did say you can go incognito mode and that would help too. But I can't verify this, so take it as community knowledge, not my personal guarantee, but it's worth knowing. My point is, if it happens, don't spiral. Just make a new account, log back in, and go again, because the sale is still on. And that's it from me, guys. 7 tips I've learned from the BTS pre-sale, so you don't have to. This is my first ever BTS concert, and I'm going to 5 shows. I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful. Thank you, universe. But what I'm trying to say is, being a toddler army with no ticketing experience, if I got through the whole process and managed to figure it out, you can too. Please believe in yourself. I really hope this video helps you through this whole stressful ticketing process. And do share it with another army who's got a show coming up, or save this video for future references. You don't have to be army for this guide to be useful. You could be a Swiftie, or an Engine, or a Ones, or a Blink. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video, or if you found this useful. And no doubt I'll be sharing a lot more concert styling ideas, merch unboxings, and probably just general concert prep stuff along the way. And if you're going to any Melbourne Melbourne or Sydney shows, please leave me a comment because maybe I'll see you at Arirang. Yay! Parahe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.